everyone. My name is Haley Beckman, and I'm the Director of Product Marketing here at listrak. Today, I'm here to walk you through some findings we've aggregated on the impact of Apple's iOS 18 rollout, including what the user experience is like now, and most importantly, what you can do to keep your email performance strong as adoption of the operating system grows. Let's dive in. Today, we'll cover what exactly has changed to the Apple Mail user experience with iOS 18 enabled and what engagement impacts we've seen so far. We'll also review some testing opportunities to improve your program KPIs and how to create a practical, long-term strategy for ongoing optimization. So let's first begin with the user experience. iOS 18 introduced a handful of subtle but important updates to how emails appear and function in Apple Mail. Apple now uses a tabbed inbox structure, and the user's initial view defaults to the tab that was previously opened. Apple Mail automatically categorizes messages into primary, transactions, promotions, and news tabs, taking into account factors like subject line, body content, and more. Users can categorize how messaging from specific brands land in their primary inbox, but they have to do this manually within their individual device settings. Emails are also now grouped by sender from name, not necessarily from address. Think if you use or receive as a consumer different from names based on whether the message content is promotional in nature, is related to an order, or tied to a customer service issue. Within the groupings, subject lines of the oldest unopened messages are now shown first. That means stale emails could actually rise to the top, giving old campaigns new life or crowding out new ones. An additional change within iOS 18 is only the top 200 to 350 pixels of an email are visible by default. To see more, users must tap the See More CTA at the bottom of the preview. If your main call to action or personalization is buried down further than that, it might not be initially seen or considered. Apple Mail is also now applying branding and category iconography to visually identify email senders, but fewer than 10% of brands actually have their logo set up to appear. Without a set logo, Apple assigns one based on your email content, which can feel generic or even off-brand. And finally, Apple is using AI to auto-generate pre-headers by crawling your email content all the way down through the footer. This adds a new layer of unpredictability and makes content structure more important than ever. So how are these changes playing out in market from a program performance standpoint? While Apple's updates are significant, some of the broader engagement trends we're seeing go beyond just iOS 18. So far, nearly 70% of iPhone users have adopted iOS 18, and we found just over half of consumers within listrak client lists are iOS users in total. Given that Apple Mail auto opens messages, the average iOS open rate for email is about 70%, and the average iOS click-through is currently clocking in at 0.31%. These are important to note as not all of your subscribers use Apple Mail or even iPhones in general, and not all iOS users are on iOS 18. Even with Apple Mail auto-opening messages, open rates across iOS have stayed fairly flat since the change. However, open rates in other email clients have dropped by 45%, largely due to macroeconomic factors. Interestingly, with Apple prioritizing older unopened messages, those emails are now earning more clicks and attributed revenue. Click-through rates are down across the board too, down 18% on iOS and 12% off of iOS, respectively. Even among users who have never used an iOS operating system, we're seeing a 36% drop in click-through rate. With messages getting clipped automatically and less visibility overall, content personalization is more critical than ever to cut through the clutter and encourage engagement. The 18.3 update refines some of these experiences, but the core engagement challenges still remain. Brands must now adapt across both creative and strategy to really improve their program metrics. Let's take a look. To improve open rate, you can start testing around these key areas. Personalizing subject lines beyond first name, like referencing activity and preferences. Testing different from names depending on your campaign goals. Using Apple branding and ensuring your preferred logo appears instead of one of Apple Mail's generic icons. Adding text to image-heavy emails so Apple's AI can summarize your content accurately, and consider send times related to order behavior, not just your engagement trends. You always want to coordinate with your SMS campaigns and app push notifications to reinforce reach in your contacts' preferred channels as well. When it comes to boosting click engagement, You can test things like moving your main call to action to the top 200 pixels in your creative template, using saved content banners to keep promotions fresh, even in those older sends that are now getting new engagement. You can personalize dynamically with loyalty data, last browse products, and coupons. You can reinforce email with app push and SMS follow-ups, as I just mentioned. And you can experiment with short subject lines using a lot of emojis and curiosity-based creatives. You can also try animated GIFs or personalized headers within your creative, but just be mindful of the size of those assets and general email accessibility. Now, let's talk about building a sustainable strategy long term for achieving maximum performance, even with iOS changes. Start with some quick wins and see what your account manager recommends based on your individual program results. For example, in the short term, focus on visibility and call to action placement. Then think about your longer roadmap. In the midterm, test cross-channel strategies and creative formatting. And in the long term, develop a full affinity-based messaging strategy across email, SMS, and push. Thanks for joining us today. With iOS 18 and future iterations from Apple still to come, email isn't dead, it's just evolving. And with the right strategy and testing plan, your program can thrive in this new landscape. For more information, check out our recent blog posts and tips within the Help Center, and always consult with your account manager. We'll see you in the next one.